Welcome to Japan. If you've ever walked through Tokyo and caught that warm, savory smell drifting out of a tiny noodle shop tucked under a train track, that's soba. Today we're diving deep into Japan's most beloved buckwheat noodle, where it came from, how to eat it, where to find the best bowls in Tokyo for less than the price of a coffee, and the secret final course almost no tourist knows about. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to walk into any soba shop in Japan with total confidence. Let's go! So, what exactly is soba? Soba, written with the kanji that literally means buckwheat, refers to thin, elegant noodles made from buckwheat flour, called sobako in Japanese. Now this is important. Soba is not pasta, and it is not ramen. Wheat-based noodles have a soft, neutral flavor, but soba is something completely different. Buckwheat gives soba a distinctive, earthy, nutty aroma and a satisfying, slightly firm bite that's quietly addictive. It's not just food. It's woven into Japan's seasonal rituals and everyday life in ways we'll get into in just a moment. Now, if you walk into a soba shop, you'll likely see two terms on the menu, nihachi and juwari. Nihachi means 2-8, and that's the ratio, 80% buckwheat, 20% wheat. The wheat helps bind the dough together, making the noodles smoother and easier to slurp. This is the standard blend in most shops. Juwari, on the other hand, means 10 out of 10, 100% pure buckwheat, no wheat at all. It's the purist's choice. Deeper aroma, earthier flavor, and naturally gluten-free as a noodle, although the dipping sauce usually still contains soy sauce, so celiacs, hold tight, we'll come back to that. Juwari is harder to make and usually a few hundred yen more expensive, but if you love bold buckwheat flavor, it's the one to try. Soba's story begins not in a city, but in the mountains. Buckwheat has been cultivated in Japan for thousands of years, and it thrived in places where rice simply couldn't grow. The cold, mist-soaked highlands of Nagano, Yamagata, and Hokkaido. For most of that history, buckwheat wasn't even shaped into noodles. Mountain villagers ate it as a simple porridge called sobagaki, or ground it into flour and rolled it into rustic dumplings. It was survival food. Quiet, humble, and absolutely essential when the rice harvest failed. The noodle we know today? That came much, much later. Everything changed in the Edo period. That's roughly 1603 to 1868, when Tokyo was still called Edo. Soba stalls began popping up all over the city's bustling streets. By the middle of the Edo era, soba had become the original fast food of the merchant class, affordable, quick, and absolutely delicious. The capital developed its own distinct style, a crisp, clean dashi broth, dark koikuchi soy sauce, and premium bonito flakes. This Edo-style soba is the direct ancestor of just about every soba shop you'll walk into across Tokyo today. So when you slurp a bowl of kake soba near Shinjuku Station, you're tasting 400 years of Tokyo food culture in one mouthful. Now here's a tradition every traveler should know about. On New Year's Eve, families across Japan gather around the table to eat what's called toshikoshi soba, literally year-crossing soba. Why? Two reasons. First, soba noodles are long and thin, symbolizing a long, healthy life. And second, the noodles are easy to bite through, which symbolically lets you sever the misfortunes of the past year and start fresh. It is genuinely one of the most beloved food traditions in the entire country. So if you're ever in Japan on December 31st, find a soba shop, order a hot bowl, and eat your old year away. Now here's something fun. Japan is far from the only country that uses buckwheat. In France, buckwheat flour is the foundation of galettes, those gorgeous, savory crepes from Brittany filled with cheese, ham, and a runny egg. In the Italian Alps, the region of Valtellina makes pizzoccheri, a thick, hearty buckwheat pasta layered with potatoes, cabbage, and melted cheese. In Korea, you'll find naengmyeon, chewy, cold buckwheat noodles served in an icy beef broth, the perfect summer dish. And in Russia and Eastern Europe, roasted buckwheat groats, kasha, are a warming side dish with butter and onions. Buckwheat is genuinely a global grain, But what Japan does with it is something else entirely. But here's what makes Japanese soba fundamentally, philosophically different. In Japan, soba is celebrated for its purity. The whole goal is to taste the buckwheat itself, its delicate aroma, its gentle earthiness. The broth is designed to complement the noodle, never overpower it. Master soba artisans, called shokunin, spend literally years perfecting the art of hand-cutting noodles to a precise, uniform thickness. The entire experience is built on three principles: restraint, balance, and seasonality. It's a stark contrast to those rich, hearty European buckwheat preparations. Japanese soba is quiet. It rewards attention. And once you start really paying attention to it, you can't go back. Soba comes in two fundamental styles, and which one you order tells everything about the season and your mood. On one side, hot soba, kake soba. Noodles swimming in steaming dashi broth, perfect for cold weather and cold days. On the other side, cold soba, zaru soba. Noodles chilled in ice water and served on a bamboo tray with a small cup of dipping sauce. Both are equally legitimate. Both are equally beloved. The difference is just what your body wants today. Let's break each one down. Cold soba. This is the purest way to appreciate the noodle itself. Here's the ritual. The noodles are boiled, then shocked in ice water for that signature firm bite. They're served on a bamboo draining tray called a zaru. You get a small cup of concentrated dipping sauce, tsuyu, made from dashi, soy sauce, and mirin. You dip just the tip of the noodles in, not the whole bunch. Add a touch of wasabi and scallions, and slurp. Loudly. There are two main names you'll see. Zaru soba comes with shredded nori seaweed on top. Mori soba is the same thing without the nori. That's literally the only difference. Cold soba is especially loved from late spring through autumn, and on a hot Tokyo day in August, there's nothing more refreshing. Now, hot soba, kake soba. The base is brutally simple. Just noodles, hot dashi broth, and a sprinkle of sliced scallions. That simplicity is the entire point. But from this base, dozens of variations bloom. Tempura soba, crispy shrimp or vegetable tempura sitting right on top of the broth. Kitsune soba, and yes, kitsune means fox, comes with a sweet, juicy slice of deep-fried tofu called aburage. Tanuki soba, that's raccoon dog, is topped with crunchy bits of fried tempura batter called tenkasu that soak up all the broth. And my personal favorite, tsukimi soba, moon viewing soba, has a raw egg gently poached right in the hot broth, the yolk floating like a full moon. Every name has a story. Every bowl is a tiny poem. One of the best things about soba in Tokyo? You don't need a reservation, you don't need a guide, and you don't need a 1,000 yen budget. The city is absolutely dotted with affordable soba chain restaurants, beloved by salarymen, students, and travelers alike. Today I'm going to introduce you to the big three you should know. Fuji Soba, the iconic 24-hour standing soba chain. Yude Taro, a slightly more craft-focused chain that boasts 3 freshnesses. And Komoro Soba, the office worker's favorite for lightning-fast set meals. Let's break each one down. First up, Fuji Soba. This is probably the most iconic standing soba chain in all of Tokyo. The recognizable signage, the locations near virtually every major train station, and many branches are open 24 hours a day. A basic bowl of kake soba starts around 350 to 400 yen. That's roughly $2.50. The menu is huge. Tempura soba, curry rice combos, seasonal specials. If you've never tried Japan's standing eat culture, tachigui, Fuji Soba is the perfect introduction. Walk in, buy a ticket, eat standing at the counter, walk out. Total time, 10 minutes. Next up, Yude Taro. Yude Taro takes a slightly more craft-focused approach. They pride themselves on what they call the 3 freshnesses: freshly ground buckwheat, freshly made noodles, and freshly boiled. Many of their locations have a visible noodle-making station inside the shop, so you can watch the masters cutting noodles while you eat. The quality-to-price ratio is genuinely outstanding. Hearty sets pairing soba with a mini rice bowl for under 600 yen. Look for the distinctive blue signage and the words "Yudetaro." If you want a slightly more serious soba experience without spending serious money, Yudetaro is your spot. And finally, Komoro Soba. This one is the absolute favorite among office workers in central Tokyo. Komoro is famous for two things: efficient service and satisfying set meals. The soba plus katsudon combo, that's a half bowl of soba paired with a mini pork cutlet rice bowl, is legendary for its value. Prices are rock bottom even by Tokyo standards, and the speed of service is genuinely astonishing. You can be in and out in under 10 minutes, which, when you have a lunch break in the middle of a Tokyo workday, is not a luxury, it's a necessity. If you see a queue of salarymen lining up at lunchtime, that's your signal. This place delivers. Okay, this is the slide you're going to want to come back to. Here's exactly how to order at a Japanese soba chain, even if you don't speak a word of Japanese. Step 1. Find the ticket vending machine, called a kenbaiki, near the entrance. Step 2. Insert cash or just tap your IC card, Suica, Pasmo, or the Welcome Suica for tourists. Step 3. Press a button to select your dish. Most machines have photos, so just point at what looks good. Step 4. Take the printed ticket and hand it to the staff at the counter. They might ask you a single word, atatakai, which means hot, or tsumetai, which means cold. Just point at the photo on the machine if you're unsure. Your meal will be ready in about 1 to 2 minutes. Total transaction time? Under 3 minutes. It's the most foreigner-friendly food experience in all of Japan. Here's a secret most tourists miss. A soba restaurant is much more than just noodles. The set meals, called setto, are a huge part of the experience and often surprisingly delicious. The most popular way to have a full meal at a soba shop is to order a set. This pairs a half-size soba with a mini rice bowl. The classics, katsudon set, a crispy breaded pork cutlet simmered with egg and onion over rice, paired with soba. Tendon set, tempura, usually shrimp and vegetables, served over rice with a sweet soy glaze, plus a bowl of soba. And oyakodon set, chicken and egg simmered in dashi sauce over rice. These sets typically cost between 600 and 800 yen. For under $5, you're getting 2 complete dishes. It's basically the best lunch deal in Tokyo. Tempura is inseparable from soba culture. You can order it as a topping on your noodles, as a standalone plate, or as part of a tenzaru set. That's cold soba served with a separate plate of tempura. The batter is light and shatteringly crispy. Common items: shrimp, ebi, sweet potato, satsumaimo, eggplant, nasu, and shiso leaf. Now, at more traditional soba restaurants, there's a beautiful custom called sobaya mae, literally, before the soba. You drink sake and nibble small dishes while you wait for your noodles to be hand-cut and boiled. Look for itawasa, sliced kamaboko fish cake with wasabi, tamagoyaki, that gorgeous rolled dashi omelet, sobagaki, a rustic buckwheat dumpling dipped in soy sauce, and whatever pickles are in season. It's the closest thing soba has to a dinner ritual. Okay, this is the secret. After you finish a bowl of cold soba, the staff at a traditional shop will quietly bring you a small pot of cloudy hot water. This is soba-yu, literally soba water. It's the starchy water that the noodles were boiled in, and it's full of buckwheat nutrients. Here's what you do. Pour the soba-yu into your remaining cup of dipping sauce, your tsuyu, and stir it gently. It transforms into this warm, savory, lightly nutty soup. Sip it slowly. This is considered the proper way to end a soba meal, and almost no first-time visitor knows about it. Most tourists just leave the pot untouched on the table. Don't be that tourist. It's one of the most uniquely Japanese dining rituals you can experience, and it costs you absolutely nothing extra. Before we wrap up, 4 pro tips that will save you a lot of confusion. Tip 1. Slurp loudly. I cannot stress this enough. Slurping is not just acceptable, it's encouraged. It cools the hot noodles, it enhances the aroma, and it shows the chef you're enjoying the meal. Eating soba quietly is the classic foreigner mistake. Tip 2. Gluten watch. Even 100% buckwheat jowari noodles are usually made in a kitchen that handles wheat, and the dipping sauce, tsuyu, almost always contains soy sauce, which contains wheat. So if you have celiac disease or a serious gluten sensitivity, please carry a Japan allergy card and consider bringing your own tamari. Tip 3. Soba is one of the most affordable meals in Tokyo. A basic bowl starts around 350 yen, about $2.50 US. Even full-set meals rarely exceed 800 yen. It is the ultimate budget-friendly dining option. And tip 4. Visit during lunch hours, 11 to 1. Turnover is highest. Noodles are being prepared continuously, and you're getting the freshest possible bowl. Whether you're grabbing a quick 400 yen bowl at a standing counter before catching the Shinkansen, or savoring hand-cut jowari soba at a quiet artisan shop in Kanda, or discovering the joy of pouring sobayu into your last drop of tsuyu, Soba offers one of the most authentic, accessible, and deeply satisfying food experiences in all of Japan. It's fast food and fine dining. It's history and modernity. It's a 350 yen lunch and a cultural journey spanning centuries. So step inside, buy your ticket, slurp with confidence, and let this humble buckwheat noodle surprise you. If you found this useful, hit subscribe. We've got more episodes like this coming. Thanks for watching, and itadakimasu!